Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Nitro Team Pro binding. That's right, the more upgraded version of the regular Team. I rode this binding at Arapahoe Basin on a sunny bluebird day with warmer temps. You had a mix of chop, chunder, ice, perfect hero snow, and I rode it on my Telos Mike Rankwit snowboard with my K2 Thraxis boots. Alright, so the big thing with this is you have a fully adjustable heel cup. It's 2 screws on the back. You loosen them up, you can slide the heel cup out, push it back in depending where you need to get your boots centered. Along with that, there are 3 placements for high back rotation if that's your thing. Going from there, you have flip tabs on both straps. You basically flip it up, slide it forward, slide it back, lock it down. You're good to go. Center your boot in there. With the toe strap, you do have a push pin system, so you've got 2 placements as well for that. With the footbed, there's a set screw, so you can slide the toe ramp forward or backwards just a little bit. And finally, you do have your forward lean adjustment, which is actually a set screw inside the high back. So this is one of those set it and forget it forward lean adjustments. So when it comes to the toe straps on this binding, you've got the Vibram Uber Grip. Basically, Nitro is the only one utilizing Vibram on their straps. This is going to allow it to stick better over the toe box, plus it has that giant cutout in there. With the heel strap, it's a more minimal design. It still is a multi-layered, sewn together strap, so there will be some break-in with the fabric, but the underneath of this should stay rigid and lock you in and keep you held in. This will also help slightly reduce pinch points and hot spots in there. Overall, the straps do a good job for what they are. One thing I noticed with this binding was that right out the box, it took a little more effort to just guide the ladder into the mouth of the ratchet before the teeth would grip. It seems as the day goes on, they break in, they get a little bit better, so that should go away. I do wish there was a wider guide on the toe strap one. That one just sort of fumbled a little bit. There is one on the heel strap, so that does make it a little easier just to line it up and get it back in. Overall, the ratchets climb and release super well. That 1-finger quick release tab is a true 1-finger quick release tab. You just grab it and it releases. You never have to worry about it. So here's the thing with the high back, you're gonna notice that it actually has some slight cupping on the outside, so when you drive into it, due to the fact that it is a little softer, there's a little bit more give. When you're driving straight back into it, it's slightly more rigid, but this isn't an overly rigid high back. One thing to also note is that the forward lean has a set screw in the back, so you cannot actually adjust this on the fly. You actually set it and forget it. The high back does its job. The overall flex of this binding is just a hair slightly past middle of the road all mountain freestyle. You'll notice that in there. The mini disc does give a lot more lateral play to this binding than others out there, but when you're driving toe to heel, you notice that power. The high back isn't as rigid, so there is some outside give on it. The strap does have a bigger cutout in it. That allows the boot to flex more forward as well, so you're going to get more boot flexion out of this. This is slightly past middle of the road, so it makes it just a hair stiffer than the regular Team, and you're going to notice that. When it comes to the ride of this binding, that stealth air-based dampening takes over. You notice that this binding is a little more damp than the regular Team. It just absorbs chatter. You can really feel it back there under that heel pad. It dissipates a lot of kinetic energy, so when you're in uneven terrain or you're riding over frozen death cookies or frozen corduroy, you just don't feel that coming up right into the bottom of your foot. It's still a lively binding, but it does a good job of dampening that kinetic energy. Who's this binding for? The all mountain freestyle guy that wants superb dampening. So the big thing I want to talk about is the heel cup on this binding. Even with it pulled all the way out, I'm in a 10 boot. It says that the max size for the medium is a 10.5. It was very tight. I could feel it pinching on the heel of my boot. You want to be aware of that. You're probably going to want a narrower boot versus something that's a little more bulky. That's just kind of how it feels. Otherwise, if you got something bulky and you're in that 10.5 range, you probably actually need to bump up to the large. Binding was good for what it was. I like that toe strap. It gripped well. The heel strap, I think they could get rid of the sewn on material and just sort of minimize it down a little bit more with that foam that's in there. It would actually contour better. Because of that material that's actually sewn on there, I know it's going to stretch. It's going to break down over time. It's not going to be as durable in the long run. I've just seen this for years. So you got to be aware of that. Is that a bad thing? No, it's not. For most average people, they're going to be able to get multiple years out of this. But for someone like me that rides 100 days a year, That would break down faster than something that's just an injected molded piece. Comparable bindings, the Rome DOD, the Bent Metal Transfer, the Ride C8. This has been my review of the Nitro Team Pro binding. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own a pair? Are you gonna buy a pair? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this binding. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.